Hi, I'm so excited. We're going to do the second part, the rows 3 and 4, or 3 and 4 of our cables. And so I have my knitting. It has my ribbing. I'm excited. I can't think. It has my setup row, and it has my first 2 rows of my cable. Now I went ahead and wrote the third. This is round 3. Just so I can explain things just a little better. When you see a pattern, you generally see it in these brackets. The entire row is in a bracket and around that seam means you go the whole way around. So what you'll see too is you'll see at the end, you'll see these parentheses. And this is telling you how many times you're going to do it. But this is actually the pattern, and I couldn't get this all in one row because I wrote it so big. So what I want to show you is, in our pattern for row 3, we have knit 2, comma, C4B, comma, K4, comma, C4F, comma, K2, comma, P3. Now that's our pattern. And then the parentheses is telling us, depending on the size that you've chosen, if you're going to do it 5, 3, or 5 times around. So I want you to start thinking about that when you're looking at patterns. This will help you to learn how to read patterns. So we're going to start with the K2. And I'm just going to leave this here. But if you have one of the small sticky notes and you're just using the pattern that you printed, that's fine. But I'm going to go ahead and use a big sticky note to show you how you can do this when you're first starting, just so it makes it easier. So we're going to K2. And I've pushed all of my yarn up. I'm going to make sure that my working yarn is in the back of my needles. And I'm going to knit my 2, K2. 1, 2. And then I'm going to move to the next comma. And it's a cable 4 back. So we already know how to do that. We've done that 4 times, at least 4 times last time. We're going to work with 4 stitches, and 2 of them are going to the back. That's all that tells you, that 2 of those go to the back. So then I want to go ahead and knit the 2 stitches from my left hand needle, my regular needle. And then I'm going to go ahead and knit the 2 stitches from the back cable needle. Now, last time I told you that if you are afraid you're going to drop these stitches and can't hold them on, go ahead and push them back down so that they're away from the edge of your needle. It won't bother your knitting at all. It won't strip your stitches or anything. So if you're uncomfortable using your hands like I do. Now you have to remember, I've been knitting for 40 plus years. So I'm very, very adept with my fingers. And it will take you a little practice, and some of you maybe not, and that's great. But it might take you a little practice before you're adept at doing that. So to make it easy for yourself and not drop stitches and frustrate you and make you want to give up, I'm just going to give you some tips through all of my lessons that make it just a little bit easier, especially for beginners. So I'm going to go ahead and push these back up. I'm going to move my sticky to the next comma, because that's the next set we're going to do in this entire set. We're going to K4, which means the K means knit. So we're going to go ahead and knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move my sticky again to the next comma. That's the next part. And I need my cable knitting. Now it's a C4F. The C is cable, the F is front, and the 4 is the number that we're working with. So I'm going to put my needle in front, and I'm going to catch 2 of these, and we take them as if we're purling. I'm going to hold them down with my thumb, and I'm going to knit 2 of these stitches from my regular needle at the left. And again, you can pull these down. I just want you to be successful. I don't care how you do it as long as you're comfortable. And then we're going to knit the 2 stitches from our cable. Okay, let's go ahead and move our sticky again, and we have to, I'm going to put this down. We're going to knit 2, and then when I move it, we're going to purl 3. Now, because of the way I purl, I have to go to the back stitch. The stitches are front and back. So I'm going to the back stitch. I'm going behind that stitch and coming between the 2 legs. I'm going to wrap clockwise and take it off. Same thing. Behind, through, clockwise, off. Behind, through, clockwise, off. And that's how I purl. Now, the reason I do that, if you've been watching any of my other videos, you know, but the reason I do my purls that way, and I do them all the time, whether I'm knitting cables or no matter what I'm knitting with a knit and purl, I always knit my purls that way. It's just a habit, first of all, so that I don't forget when I am knitting it. I don't go back and forth between the 2. But it makes a smaller gap between your stitches. When you do it the other way, the old-fashioned way of purling, it makes a big stitch between cables and it looks messy. Let me show you before I get going too far. I'm going to show you. This is the regular way to purl. You put your stitch in the front. Oops. Put your yarn in the front, sorry, put your stitch in the front, and then you wrap it counterclockwise. That's an awful lot of yarn that you're using to go around there. And it will make a small ladder, which is very unseemly when you have knitting. So if I do it the other way, if I take it this way, I have very little yarn that's making that gap, and so your purl stitch looks a lot nicer if you do it the way I'm showing you. And if you've learned it the old way, that's fine too. It's just that you need to be aware you're going to have more gaps between the knit and the first purl. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that again, and use your stickies for as long as you're comfortable. If you get to the point you can kind of keep track of things without your stickies, go for it. This is just a lot of fun to learn. So we're going to knit 2, 1, 2. We're going to do a cable for back, which means I'm going to take my cable needle to the back and move 2 of those stitches. I'm going to knit 2 stitches on my left hand needle, and then I'm going to knit those stitches, and go ahead, move that back. I'm going to knit those 2 stitches off my back cable needle. And then our next one is knit 4. And then the next thing we do is a cable for front. So we're working with 4 stitches still. We're going to take 2 off to the front, hold that down. We're going to knit 2 of the stitches on our regular left hand needle. And then we're going to go ahead and knit 2 stitches off of our cable. And you can see how we're starting to make our antlers go up. So let's finish this. We're going to knit 2. And then we're going to go ahead and purl 3. So I bring my needle to the front. Now this is my purl. Back stitch, between, clockwise, off. Back, between, clockwise, off. Back, between, clockwise, off. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and put that between our 2 needles. Now, I'm going to work this with you, but I'm not going to use that. If you need to use it, please feel free to use it. Feel free to use whatever makes you a success, whatever makes it easy for you. Okay, so I'm going to knit 2. I'm going to cable 4 to the back, put 2 stitches in the back. Now, this can be a little tricky. Make sure where your yarn coming out of your last stitch doesn't go around your cable when you knit, but make sure that you skip the cable. Okay, that can be a little tricky. So I'm going to knit these 2. Knit the 2 off of my cable needle. Okay, we're ready to knit 4. 1. Ooh, I nearly dropped that. And we're going to do a cable for front. So 2 of these go in the front. Knit the 2 off of the back in your regular needles. And then knit the 2 off of your cable needle. Okay, we're going to knit 2 and purl 3. Back between clockwise off, back between clockwise off, back between clockwise off, thread to the back. Okay, we're ready to do our last one. Let's move our stitch holder and knit 4, or knit 2, 1, 2, cable 4 back, knit 2 from your other needle, your regular needle, knit 2 from your cable needle, okay, knit 4, and we're going to do the cable for front. So we take 2 to the front, knit 2 off the back, which is our regular needle now, knit the 2 off of our cable needle, okay, we're going to finish with our knit 2 and then purl 3. Knit 2, bring your yarn to the front, we go to the back of the stitch. See, this is the front of the stitch that's going over our needle. The back of the stitch is this one on this side. So we go to the back of our stitch, go through clockwise, back of our stitch, clockwise, back of our stitch clockwise. Oh, lovely, perfect. And so then I'm going to go ahead and push that back. So now make sure that you click your number, that's a 3, because we've just finished round 3. And we're going to go back up 1 row and do row 4, which is knit 16, purl 3 the entire way around. And we have done this on our last video, and we do this every even row. So if you need to count, go ahead. Since I have stitch markers, I really don't have to count 16, but if it's easier for you, and when you count with your knit, it's really good if you're depressed or if you're having a rough day. It just kind of makes the brain calm down. And so every once in a while I'll check. So I have 2 more stitches to knit, 1, 2, because I know my last 3 stitches are purl. And so we're going to go ahead and purl, purl, purl. Move our marker, knit our 16, and then purl our 3. Now you're going to do that the entire way around here. This is always the reminder that I'm at the beginning of a round. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this video, let you go ahead and finish round 4, and in our next videos we're going to do rounds 5 and 6, which will be an entire set of our antlers. So then we will start over again, and I will explain to you how many we have to do, how many you have to do, depending on the size. So join me next time. There are a few little tricks we're going to learn. Okay, I'm really enjoying this. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.